Here, you welcome back in, and then we'll do it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Welcome.
And wait.
Okay, welcome guys. This is the first episode of How's Work. My guest today is Garrett. Hello.
Hi. Thanks for having me. It's lovely being here.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
My name's Garrett Cooper. I'm a professional creative and graphic designer, currently working in film. I have worked on a lot of different creative ventures, be it painting or sculpting, or we've had I've worked with artist collectives and had different shows, different showcases.
Excellent.
Theater and just lots of creative endeavors. Film's really interesting because it is a contract-based job. Every production has different needs, and when one production ends, your job ends, and so you kind of have to be ready to do other things.
Right.
You know, so I've worked as in film. I've worked as a set dresser. A set dresser is somebody who, in film, you'll have the construction come and they'll make the space. Okay. And then the painter will come and they'll make the space have all of this particular color and look, this age, or whatever the needs for the building is.
So it's like creating a scene.
Yeah, so they create the space, and then what the set dresser does is the set dresser has a set decorator above them. Okay. That's the boss, and they create like what they want the general look of the space to be. That's within the confines of what has been asked from the art department. Yeah. And so what the set dresser does is they move things.
I see.
I've been a props assistant. Okay. So props are anything that an actor touches in film. And so what a props assistant does is essentially you're a gopher. You run, you go get things, you buy things, you check prices on things. You do everything that the prop master wants you to do. Okay. So it could be anything from buying soup to
And that's like real soup?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, soup that the actors have to eat, you know?
In the scene. Oh, wow.
You're going
and they're actually like,
soup.
Okay, cool.
You have to like fake eat in the scene.
Yeah,
you know? You're doing whatever they say. Yeah. So there's a lot of running around. Okay. And then on now 2 different productions, I've been a graphic designer, which is super fun.
Which production is that?
So the first one was Key to Love, which is it's an upcoming, possibly out even now, movie about so I don't really know what the movie's about. It's some. I was supposed to read the scripts, but I didn't read the scripts. Yeah. My job mostly on that was making sexy Viking covers for books.
That's hilarious.
That was supposed to be like the main prop, so there was just a lot of doing that for the entire time. And so like the script didn't 100% matter to me because my job was essentially just taking buff, long-haired dudes and tossed them onto covers. Sometimes short-haired dudes with
that's hilarious.
mohawks.
Yeah.
But mostly just long-haired.
Yeah. And then the second production is the same, or is it different?
No, the second production is Heartland, season 16.
Ooh. I'm sure if people stumble on this video, they're going to be like squealing, being like,
Heartland, and maybe that is quite possible that somebody would feel that.
Yeah. Do you ever meet celebrities?
Yeah.
Yeah?
But also...
Who?
No.
Yes and no.
I won't say who I've met.
Okay. Is that confidential?
It's just like
meh.
Are we here to name drop? Is that the game that we're playing? Or are we talking about work?
Okay, fair enough.
Let's stay on topic.
I mean, I kind of want to know too.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. That's totally fair.
Yeah.
But no. Like it's
just one of those things. It's just part of the job. I guess once you're in it, you're just kind of like, man, you're just a person.
Just a person,
just a person, yeah.
You're trying to do a job.
And yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to facilitate the job that you're doing. Honestly, the main driver was, I guess, multiple things. One, being a part of a union was really important because you have a bunch of people that are fighting for you constantly.
Yeah.
And you get paid really well to do the job that you do. Like some would argue, but like the most that I've been paid to do the same job.
Yeah.
And to have like some kind of like financial security. And like the other thing was to be in a creative field. I went and did a Bachelor of Fine Arts in painting.
From which school?
From the Alberta College of Art and Design, now the Alberta University of the Arts.
Yes, yeah.
I worked in a lot of different places with a lot of different creative people, but it was never really something that could be self-sustaining.
Yeah.
And so it was always like a second grind on the side. And being able to just do something that was really able to support myself and my family.
Just that stability was like probably like, what was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What a change. And another like really important thing for me was being able to do something creative and be acknowledged by my peers.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah, especially after coming from a bachelor in fine arts, you want to be able to apply what you're passionate about, right, into an actual legitimate job.
I think one of the things to note is that all unions are different.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
The film union is really strong in North America. It's called IATSE. And I can't tell you what it stands for. I should have been more prepared for that. But like,
it's like I.A.T.S. E. Yeah. So if you need to look it up, look it up. Otherwise, I'll probably put it in.
Yeah, it's gonna be like right here.
Yeah, right around there.
This area.
Yeah.
Maybe up here we'll
maybe
come
up there.
to a thing.
Yeah, we'll play around with it.
We'll play around with it. It was not a difficult decision. I've had like unions within my life.
Yeah.
My uncle is a union rep for a construction company.
Okay.
And he was always very much about like trying to make it the best for the worker, but also he was very much about looking at the people that were trying to take advantage of the system in order to not do stuff. But like in terms of like my experience with unions, I really like the idea of having stability and benefits. So like while a production is on, you're very little freedom. You're working like 12 hours a day, sometimes 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Some people 7 days a week, you know?
Yeah.
They have like no life for 6, 7, 8, some like they just finished filming The Last of Us and that went for 28 months, something like that.
Yeah.
Like a very, very long time for a production.
Yeah.
And some people worked the entire time through it.
Yeah.
But you like, because you're working like all this overtime, you're getting paid like so much more money per check. You get paid every week, and then after the production is done, you are under no liability to go and work immediately after.
Right.
What I've really liked about it is like I've been able to work on my own personal projects.
Yeah.
When it's like, you know,
off production.
It's a lot of work, and you have to like mitigate a lot of relationships. And one thing that's been really good about it is I've become more precious with my time. Yeah. Because it's like, well, if I only have like 4 extra waking hours of the day before I have to like go to sleep, how am I going to spend that time? And who am I going to spend that time with? Yeah. And so like it really starts making you have to make tough decisions based on your energy. What do I do to decompress from
to decompress, yeah, essentially.
Which is like super important, and like proper rest is really important. Yeah. And being able to like put up boundaries with other people is really important during those times, because like you have to be able to say, no, I can't be there for you emotionally because I have like 1 more hour of being awake, and taking on all of the things that you're dealing with is also very difficult. Yeah. And if I'm not okay for the rest of the day, then I'm not going to be okay for the week, and then all of a sudden everything else starts snowballing. I play music, or I draw, or I like dedicate time where I can just like mindlessly watch some show,
movies.
So you need 2 references to put onto your paperwork. Yeah. And you need to work a minimum of 400 hours. It used to be that you had to work 400 hours and have been on 3 different shows. So if you're on 1 full show, it didn't count. But they've changed that recently. Okay. And after you get your 4 hours, then you have to pay your union dues. You have to be sworn in, and you have to, like, get signed up for all of your benefits and everything. In order to be a part of the union needs to function, and because everything in film is done through the union, like most things, almost all things are done through the union. So it's like paying for a membership, but that membership allows you jobs that pay well. And the amount of hours that you work, they allow you to have a certain pedigree of bonuses. Yeah, so the way that it works is a production will come in and they'll say that we need X amount of people for a job. And so in that X amount of people, they'll have to go to the union. And what the union does is they have this huge list of all of the different people that could be running down it. And what they end up saying is, like, from the person that is like the highest on the list, that's been within the union for the longest, they end up getting the calls first. And below the union, the union members are the permittees. So if a production is all full of union members, or like what usually happens, because filming outside happens in seasons, they block a lot of different productions at the same time, and then there's this space where there's very few productions in the year. And so once those productions start filling up, there's all of a sudden not enough people. So then they start going to the permittees. So, like, one thing with film is you have to be able to deal with instability. And because, like, you make more money faster, and then you don't have to be on all the time. Some people do work every single day of the year. You don't have to. I got a couple tips. First tip, okay, go for set dresser as a job, because if it's any larger scale production, they will have a lot of jobs for set dresser. Now you might want to be in costume, or you might want to be in editing, but those jobs are so much fewer to come by. And if you're going to try to start off as being a member by doing like art department, they're going to go, those jobs are going to be like maybe 2, 3, 5, you know, very rare, very few. Number 2, like, be pleasant to work with, because if you were constantly a thing that makes the job harder, then people are going to not want to be around you. And because people are spending so much time, there's a lot of talking that happens, and you don't want to be the person that people are talking about in a negative light. Step 3 is be prompt with all of the paperwork that you have to get in.
Okay, and what does that mean?
So, like, you're going to get a lot of different things that are going to have to come in, and you're going to be very anxious because it's a lot of paperwork. You're writing a lot of things, and you have to get them, you have to get, like, courses. You got to get, like, first aid. You got to make sure that you have your WMIS, you know, in order to be a full member. And you have to know the rules of the productions when you go on. So even just onboarding for every single production, you're going to have to fill out, like, a questionnaire. You're going to have to, like, fill out a bunch of stuff. And so you want to make sure that you get all of those things together as quickly as you possibly can and given to the correct people, because again, like, you don't know what's going to happen. I always like to draw. And so, like, all the backs of my tests, I would finish my tests really quickly, and then I would just draw on the backs of all of my papers, and I just couldn't stop doing it. I was very shy when I was a little kid. And there were always kids around in my house. My mom, like, watched kids in the neighborhood, so there were always kids around. And because everybody else was, like, busy socializing, I was able to just kind of go unnoticed and be in the side and be drawing by myself. My Mimi, who's my grandmother on my dad's side.
You call her Mimi.
Mimi, she is an artist, and she's a painter, and she had, like, published a, like, children's story. And I guess, like, having things really close and seeing that, like, somebody else could do it was like made it so that cemented it to be real, you know? That it could be something. I really enjoyed, but, like, more than anything, I really enjoyed my time that I could just spend by myself creating things. When I got out of high school, I was 17. I turned 18 over the summer.
Yeah.
And then my dad gave me a choice of like, you can either work or go to school. And so I worked, and I worked with him at the hotel that he was the executive chef at. But I was just working as a maintenance guy, and I hated it. I really disliked it.
Okay.
The best thing that I did during that job was learning to like paint walls.
Okay.
And then I worked as like a commercial painter after that.
Wow.
But
Okay. Yeah.
at the end of that year, my dad was like, hey, so you either pay rent or you go to school. And I was like, I don't do either of those things.
Yeah.
And so I was like, hey, I'm just going to apply to one place. I really like drawing. Maybe that could be a thing. And so I applied to ACAD, and I got it. It was a lot.
Okay.
I learned a lot. I was questioned a lot in a lot of my beliefs and the ways in which I understood the world. I learned how to look at things with a more critical eye. That allowed me to really be able to dissect things when I ended up to go into design school in ways that my peers didn't really understand.
Yeah.
Because I had that prior knowledge of like, okay, this has a whole history of why we're looking at this thing, why it's designed this way, why we're really looking at it in terms of all of the other things that have come about, how this object is trying to communicate something to me past what it is. I went and lived in Mexico for a little bit, and so I went down with the intention of being there for 2 weeks, and I stayed there for 6 months and had a show and really pushed like that kind of like artist dream of like going out and having your own solo show and doing the whole thing and traveling and doing that bit. But I ran through all of my money super quick, and I kind of was just like living off of the graces of other artists and creatives in the space, and
like a true artist though.
Like a true artist. But when I came back, I was like emaciated. I had no money. I was so in debt because I ended up staying so much longer than I thought I could, and I just I came back and I had to like go back and live with my parents and take a bunch of like really trash jobs. It was insane. Everything is so alive in Mexico City. It's got such a large standing history that like has been told for so long, and there's this melding of cultures, the old with the new. Being in a space like that with like these giant museums full of like really important works really changes what your exposure to these things are. And you meet people that are like just grinding all the time because it's like, oh, if I don't make these paintings and I don't sell these paintings, then I'm not like making bread, you know? Like I gotta get in there and I gotta make that money in order to survive. And so like the hustle was so different. A lot of people here, like we were talking about, learned a lot of conceptual ideas, whereas a lot of people there were learning those hard skills of like, how do you paint, how do you sculpt, how do you like do these things, you know? I'm spending like years of like going through school in order to really perfect their craft. And so I got to see that whole other side of like the total artistry, and then like the mixing and melding of these two things, which was really interesting to see the friends that I had that had come up after having these like really hard skills instilled in them, and then being exposed to these different concepts and like more about the idea surrounding why is this thing happening, why is it being made, who is looking at it, why is it sitting here. But one of the things that I found was like their craftsmanship was much stronger because that's what was really drilled into them at school, whereas like a lot of people that we went to school with, they had like a very solid safety net, and that's the reason why we were able to make those decisions to be like, oh, I'm gonna go into art school. I had no money.
That was it. That was like as far as you can go.
I was poor. I had no money. I had the safety net of being able to come back home. I ended up having my show, and then I sold some pieces from that. I did a bulk of translations for them. And then that was used as a way to buy my ticket back home. I just made a deal with the owner of the gallery.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, you know, I can stay here and try this, but I was literally eating like 2 boiled eggs a day, and there was no kitchenette, or there was no kitchen. There was a little kitchenette, and it was just a coffee pot that I had to cook things with. So I had to pour the water over the eggs to continually
cook in the coffee maker.
Cook in the coffee pot,
And then that's not where the water goes. You put the egg in where the coffee juice, the coffee pot, right?
So that it pours over, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I thought that originally that I could do it on the hot plate, that it would get hot enough, but no. It was like
Don't
2
try
hours
it.
later and
Yeah.
being so hungry.
Yeah.
And then like going to go eat the egg and then just having it like smash all over my face when, you try to like break it open and it just like goop all comes out and it's not even cooked at all. And you're like...
So you survived on eggs.
So I survived on eggs and a spoonful of Nutella that somebody had left there.
So if you want to, I guess, test yourself whether you can survive in those situations, I guess, here you have it.
I had like a couple relationships with different people that are Latin. And so we were able to, I was able to like hear things, and that kind of pushed me into learning stuff.
Even more.
I went to the Toronto Film School for graphic design and interactive media. And that was the course. And it was like an abridged, it was a 2-year course, but it occurred over 1 year. For me, it was like 18 months. I'm a little biased because this all happened during like the height of the pandemic. Like I got into the city, I met people, we were around each other for like 4 months, and then boom, pandemic. And it was like, sweet, now you're in a 875 square foot apartment with 3 other people, 1 bathroom, and you're not really allowed to leave.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
We're going into this now.
Yeah.
So we all of a sudden went online, and you went from having like a Mac computer that was able to run all the programs to then, if you don't have a computer, now you got to figure one out. I ended up developing like a repetitive strain injury.
Ouch.
From just doing the same little movements, because you got all these projects and they're still going, but you're still dealing with the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
So although I learned a lot while I was there, and I was able to like really round out those skills that I didn't have, I did not enjoy the experience, and I would not tell other people to go for like that specific experience.
Especially when you hit like in your early 20s, mid 20s, you're just like, you really want to settle into a career, and then you try your best to like find a career in something that you went to school for. Maybe not, maybe you're just like, you found a different passion, you want to get into it, but there's always that wall that you kind of hit. It's a struggle, and I always feel personally that I wish when people see like your resume, for example, that they could see like the journey that it took for you to apply for a position.
Nobody gets a job really without help.
Yeah. And that's the reality of it.
And that's the reality of it. It's really important in order to like reach out to your network, and usually like jobs don't come from your first like sphere of influence, but like a second sphere where it's somebody knows that you have an interest in being in something, and then they talk to somebody that can then move you forward in your career path. I think it's really difficult to get a job in a new field, because people look at all of your experience as almost like a strike against you. And a lot of the times nobody's looking at your resume at all. It's like a bot that ends up looking for keywords. And so using like keyword optimization of like looking through the thing, through the original job posting and trying to find the keywords that are already posted there, and then tailoring your resume. Don't lie. Wink. But
I was going to ask, like, would you lie?
Like, I think one of the issues is that could you learn versus can you do is one of the hard things. And sometimes people can't see how you might be really good for a position, because how you come off on paper isn't necessarily what's going to be the thing that's going to get you jobs. Yes, I would say like reach out to the people that you know around you. Don't be afraid to really pursue that lead. Yeah. Being too needy is important, because like you're showing that you really want the thing. Yeah. And they much rather have somebody that's going to show up every day and be like on it rather than have somebody that's not. Yeah. Even if you still don't find a career, don't be discouraged. Like, I think we all started off doing jobs we don't like, or maybe jobs are completely unrelated, but I feel like, especially if you're in your early 20s, like, man, you're gonna have to go through a different variety of jobs to really kind of meet the right people.
find this a sense of
I
direction.
think one thing that's like really helped me that I keep on like going back to is the author George Orwell that wrote 1984 and Animal Farm. He wasn't always an author, and he didn't author Animal Farm, which was like his big breakout novel, until he was like 40 years old.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been really great. I hope. Oh, thanks. Rude. I just hope that I got everything out there for some of you guys who are curious about film, graphic design, and even being an artist, a starving artist, really. Being an artist is It's
overrated. Don't go in to be a starving artist.
No. I mean,
Make
there's
sure
a
you
thrill.
Get fed, make your bread.
Yeah, you know what? There is a thrill, though, if you like the thrill, that adrenaline, but don't keep it for too long.
But also, it's traumatic to be poor and not have money and not know where your next bunch of cash is going to come from.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep on working.
Keep on working. Like, if you love what you do, you don't need to be in a career for it. I mean, if you don't want to, literally just do it because it helps you get through your day, helps you get through your life, and that's something that I also had to learn as an artist myself. And I'm not an artist who is making money off of any of my work, but I still love making it. We're logging out. Peace.